to Marketplace Africa. I'm Eleni Jokos and I'm at Paramount Group's armoured vehicle manufacturing plant here in Johannesburg. Now founded in 1994, it's now become Africa's largest private defence company. Now South Africa isn't new to manufacturing military hardware. During the years of apartheid, the country was barred from importing arms, and so it developed a powerful weapons industry. But a lot has changed since then. According to the World Bank, in 2015, South Africa spent around 1.1% of GDP on protection. Now, while South Africa is spending less on defence, companies like Paramount Group are leading the way when it comes to military innovation, and it's feeding into a multi-billion and perhaps sometimes controversial industry. This is the Arlac. It's the latest in avionics innovation right out of Africa.
This is one of the most advanced revolutionary military aircraft that has ever been produced in the world. And I'm very proud to say that it's designed, developed, and will be manufactured in South Africa.
Ivo Ichikowitz is the founder of Paramount Group. Since 1994, the global defence company has worked across land, sea and air, designing and manufacturing defence solutions on African soil. It took a team of engineers 7 years to take this peculiar-looking aircraft from concept to air, and it now enters a very crowded market. But experts point to its unique design.
Due to the fact that the engine is behind, it has absolutely unbelievably good forward visibility and very clear visibility for the two pilots.
It's hollow, basically. No aircraft structure in there. And we can hang 800 kilograms of mission equipment, cameras, radars.
Paramount sells aircraft, vessels and armoured vehicles to governments around the world, including Ghana, Kazakhstan and Brazil. The company says South African regulations permit them to only supply military products to politically stable countries.
These are weapons of war. It's a difficult situation. So there are international guidelines to regulate the trade in arms.
It's a secretive industry, and while we can't reveal the cost of this aircraft, we're told it's cheaper than its competitors. That's essential because as security concerns rise across the world, governments are looking for cost-efficient defence solutions. Are you flying today or should I?
You can fly, ma'am, and then I'll explain you what's going on there.
It even relies on tried and tested gadgets like PlayStation controllers.
That thing is engineered extremely well. Thousands of people play thousands and thousands of hours on that thing. It fits your hand perfectly.
Don't be fooled by the simple design on some of its parts. Experts say Paramount is bringing modernization to the continent.
It's the innovation that is required and modernization. Remember, a lot of the military forces in the African environment are pretty old and pretty dated. So what is really happening is Paramount has been introducing newer, up-to-date equipment.
I call this the little pocket rocket. This is the Mbombe 4, the four-wheeled version of the Mbombe range. It can crack 150 kilometers an hour. Don't try this at home.
Group has its main manufacturing base in South Africa, but also has factories in Europe and the Middle East. It's now turning soil on a major plant here in Africa.
This is the first commercial, large-scale aircraft manufacturing site on the African continent.
And you're able, capacity is sitting at 24.
Capacity at the moment is 24 aircraft in phase 1.
And while the company is growing, going up against global defence companies will remain an uphill battle for this homegrown African company. So as I try to figure out how to maneuver this vehicle, we are going to take you to a very short break, and when we come back, I'll be introducing you to the founder of Paramount Group, Ivo Ichikowitz. Actually, this is pretty easy, I have to say.
FaceTime, in association with Dan Goatee.
Welcome back to Marketplace Africa. Now, this is the Marauder. It is designed, engineered and manufactured in South Africa. And apparently that is the winning formula, according to Paramount Group founder Ivor Ichikovitz. Building equipment from scratch. Now, despite the fact that armored vehicles like this are sold for defense and security purposes, they are still weapons of war. Ichikovitz says that he understands the risks that come with this industry. So I caught up with him to find out a little bit more about his company.
Paramount is quite an unusual organization. We're one of the very few defense companies in the world that isn't owned by government and isn't listed on the stock exchange that does what we do. And it's a remarkable story because it's an African story. It's a South African story. Paramount is was born in the year that South Africa was made a true democracy. And it's an organization that's grown out of the uniqueness of what South Africa has to offer. And today we are still very proudly African, but we have global aspirations, and we've managed to expand into a global business and still keep very strong and proud African roots.
How are you positioning yourself as a global player, and how are you going up against the big names?
We understand government's operational needs. We then match the equipment to those operational needs, and almost every single product that Paramount has in this vast portfolio that we have today has come out of an operational need. So the land, sea and air component allows us to give any government anywhere in the world a complete turnkey solution. And I suppose that's one of our other unique selling propositions. We've never been about selling anything specific. We've always been about helping governments to solve specific problems. And that's how we're growing globally.
I mean, your revenue is up 25% year on year.
So we've experienced 25% and then sometimes in excess of that over the last few years. It's because we're expanding out of Africa, because we're becoming serious players on the global stage. But I think we could be expanding even more than that, and our target is significantly more ambitious than that.
So I know you can't talk a lot about your clients, but you can tell me a little bit. So tell me about the ones that you can.
In our industry, we are very restricted in terms of talking about projects. But what I can tell you is that one of Paramount's key engagement points with governments is our desire or our willingness to share production. So we believe very firmly in creating long-term relationships, and we do this by selecting countries that have long-term needs where we can utilize our portable production philosophy and set up manufacturing in those countries. Now, we're finding the most interest in our capabilities in places like Southeast Asia, places like Central Asia. We have a lot of engagement in the Middle East. We are prepared to set up production capability and co-design capability in those countries.
So you're talking about full-on production plants, or you're talking about assembly?
No, we're talking about full-on production plants. I mean, we've just opened one of the most exciting armored vehicle factories in the world in Kazakhstan. Now, the factory in Kazakhstan produces armored vehicles from sheet metal. We have a full manufacturing facility there that was set up in 12 months. It's never been done, to the best of my knowledge, anywhere in the world. But that's because we have a willing customer who is also a willing partner, and we've evolved a system that allows us to be efficient, to be cost-effective, and to get to production fast.
And in South Africa, you're also, starting out a new factory for your new aircraft.
We have sizable facilities in South Africa. We have 7 or 8 production facilities in South Africa, and we've just broken ground on what will be the most modern and most advanced aircraft manufacturing facility right here in South Africa. And this is the facility that will produce the new Arlac aircraft.
So you're in manufacturing as well as defense, it seems, right? So tell me about where it is most cost-effective to produce. Is South Africa cost-effective relative to the likes of Kazakhstan or other countries?
Cost-effective production in different industries means different things. We're in South Africa because our brains trust is in South Africa. We're in South Africa because our ability to design, develop and produce happens to be in South Africa. I believe that South Africa will always be a very cost-effective place to do high-tech industrial development. And as we move around the world, we're finding that we have a very cost-effective base of intellect here in South Africa, not necessarily the most cost-effective labor base. So by keeping the high-value jobs in South Africa and sharing the lower-value jobs with our customers, we get a win-win.
So do you think by becoming an original equipment manufacturer within the space is going to create a domino effect and create capacity?
There is no question that Africa can be in the aerospace industry. We're proving it, we're living it, the capability is around us every day, and as we start pushing aircraft out of the production facility, we'll find other aircraft manufacturers wanting to do the same.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on this edition of Marketplace Africa. Don't forget to take a look at our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. From me, Eleni Jacques in Johannesburg. I'll see you next time in the Marketplace.